I remember the calm days before everything shattered. Stacy and I, fresh out of college, were those couples everyone envied. We had dreams, plans, and an image of a perfect future painted in bright colors. But as time ticked forward, the dark hues began to seep in. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Little things, like the way she no longer laughed at my jokes or how her gaze often seemed distant as we sat across the dining table. Confiding in friends felt futile. They didn't see what I could feel. It was a heavy weight in my chest, whispering that Stacy was hiding something. Driven by desperation, I took a drastic step. I installed cameras around our home, a decision born from both love and mistrust. What I discovered shattered my perception of the woman I had married. Her laughter, once a melody that brightened my day, echoed differently now, laced with betrayal as I watched her entwine with someone else. The cold reality hit me like a freight train. The truth was undeniable. She had been unfaithful. Anger and heartbreak propelled me into a dark place. I had trusted her, provided her with a life full of love, and this betrayal felt like a knife twisting in my gut. I felt raw, exposed, and utterly humiliated, not just because of her infidelity, but because I had been blind to it for so long. Justice, as I envisioned it, became my only solace. As I confronted her with the footage, her expression morphed from shock to arrogance. "You're just paranoid, Michael," she spat, as if my need for truth was an accusation against her character. I saw through the facade, the lies and manipulation she spun effortlessly. It was then that I decided to take action, not just to expose her, but to reclaim my dignity. I planned my moves carefully, letting the pieces of our life unravel. I gathered evidence, contacted friends and family, and meticulously displayed her deceit to the world. It wasn't just about revenge, it was about proving I deserved better. Beyond the pain, I realized I could break free from her toxic grasp. The divorce was as tragic as it was necessary. Our shared dreams crumbled, and as I signed the papers, I hoped for closure. I had loved fiercely, but love cannot thrive on lies. Afterward, I was a hollow shell, but with time, healing became my focus. I learned to trust again, starting with myself. Stacy faded into a distant memory, a chapter that taught me resilience. I emerged stronger, a survivor of my own tragedy. Life moved on, and in the end, all I wanted was peace, a new beginning.
I always believed my feelings for Emily were something extraordinary. Since childhood, she had been my ideal. We used to stroll through the park, build sandcastles, share. I always believed my feelings for Emily were something extraordinary. Since childhood, she had been my ideal. We used to stroll through the park, build sandcastles, share dreams. Time passed and my emotions only grew stronger until that long-awaited day arrived, our wedding day. I stood at the altar filled with hope and visions of a life together. Emily looked stunning in her white dress, and in that moment, I felt our future brim with happiness. But as time went on, reality proved far more complicated. The first warning sign appeared just months after we tied the knot. Emily began showing strange traits, becoming increasingly stubborn and self-centered. I tried to understand what was happening, but every time I asked questions, she deflected the conversation back to me. Each argument ended in tears and her promises to get better. At one family gathering, her brother Ryan glanced at me with clear disapproval. I remember his words, "You have no idea what my parents are capable of." I chuckled at the time, thinking it was just a family joke. But soon that funny forewarning began to resemble a nightmare. Emily started hosting frequent parties with strange people, guys I'd never seen before. Whenever I asked about them, she gave vague answers, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked behind her charming smile. One day, I saw her reconnect with an old friend, and their secretive meetings grew more frequent, despite my protests. I began investigating her past and uncovered disturbing truths about her family. Turns out, Emily's parents had once faced accusations of fraud and shady dealings. Their entire lives had been cloaked in mystery. I felt the ground slip beneath my feet. When I decided to confront her, she responded with an icy, unfamiliar resolve. She lifted the veil. "You have no idea who you're dealing with, or the people my family is connected to. We're not like you." I was stunned but still clung to hope, thinking I could somehow fix her. Weeks later, something unbelievable happened. I spotted Emily at a dinner table with several people, noticing they were discussing deals that clearly violated the law. I took a step back, convinced it couldn't be real. but soon the web of secrets unraveled. I realized Emily had become part of a criminal network, where her alluring lifestyle was merely a facade for something far darker. Accepting this truth shattered me, but it also set me free. I decided to end it. With the help of an old friend, a detective, I gathered enough evidence. Operation Emily's Secret concluded dramatically. On the day we were supposed to celebrate our anniversary, Emily and her family were arrested. I stood in the rain as they drove away, unable to believe that the perfect love I dreamed of since childhood had been a lie. Every tragedy made me stronger. Now I know that real love isn't effortless. It's essential to recognize the truth about those closest to you.
I first met Lily on a rainy autumn evening at a campus cafe. I was buried in a stubborn calculus problem, frustrated and soaked from the downpour. She sat nearby, scribbling into a worn notebook, her fingers stained with ink. When my pencil slipped off the table and rolled to her boots, she nudged it back with a quiet smile. I mumbled a thank you, and for some reason, couldn't stop glancing her way after that. We fell for each other faster than I thought possible. Late night drives beneath amber trees, coffee-fueled study sessions in the library, whispered I love yous between nervous glances and laughter. She introduced me to poetry. I introduced her to logic puzzles. We made promises, big ones, wild ones. Our wedding was sunlit, wrapped in yellow blooms and the chatter of close friends. For a few blissful years, life felt like a shared page inside jokes, spontaneous weekend trips, and the sleepy coos of our newborn echoing across our apartment walls. But time has a way of unraveling stories. I chased ambition into a demanding tech startup. I told myself it was for our future. Lily, once the heart of my world and the poet who grounded me, found herself juggling part-time teaching and full-time motherhood.